The trading outpost on Varith 7 wasn't much to look at, a collection of prefab structures huddled against the rust-colored cliffs, where a dozen species conducted business far from the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council. Orla had been working there for 6 months, managing supply logistics for the human contingent, and she'd grown accustomed to the strange rhythms of alien commerce. The Kyrath were the dominant species on this world, bipedal predators standing nearly 8 feet tall, with sleek gray fur covering powerful frames and eyes that could track movement in near darkness. They reminded Orla of wolves who'd learned to walk upright and build civilizations. Their society was built on pack hierarchy, strength, and the unforgiving logic of survival. Lewis arrived on a supply ship 3 weeks after Orla had witnessed her first Kyrath disciplinary ritual. He was an exobiologist assigned to study local wildlife, but his easy smile and the way he stopped to help unload cargo told her he was more than just another academic. "They respect strength here," Orla warned him on his second day as they shared a meal in the human quarters. "The Kyrath don't understand compassion the way we do. They see it as weakness." Lewis had nodded, stirring his reconstituted stew. "Every species has its blind spots. Doesn't mean we have to share them." The incident happened on a Tuesday, though Terran time meant little this far from Earth. Orla and Lewis were crossing the central market when they heard it, a high-pitched yelp that cut through the ambient noise like a blade. The sound came from an alley between 2 storage units, and without thinking, they both moved toward it. A young Kyrath, barely adolescent by their standards, was crumpled against a wall. His left leg bent at an unnatural angle, and blood darkened the fur around a gash on his shoulder. Standing over him were 3 adult Kyrath, their postures radiating dominance and contempt. He failed the hunt trial, one of them growled in galactic standard, noticing the humans. He brought shame to his pack. "This is our way." The cub whimpered again, trying to crawl away, and the largest Kyrath raised a clawed hand. Lewis moved. Later, Orla would struggle to describe what happened. One moment Lewis was beside her, the next he was between the Kyrath and the injured cub. He wasn't a large man, barely 6 feet with a researcher's lean build, but something in his stance made him seem bigger. "No," Lewis said, his voice low and absolute. The Kyrath leader's ears flattened. "Human, this does not concern you. Leave, or—" "I said no." The word came out as something between a shout and a snarl, and Orla felt the hair on her arms stand up. Lewis's hands were shaking, but not with fear, with barely contained fury. His eyes locked onto the lead Kyrath with an intensity that made the predator take a step back. "You want to hurt someone?" Lewis continued, his voice rising. "You want to prove how strong you are? Then come through me first." The marketplace had gone silent. Kyrath from nearby stalls were watching now, their ears pricked forward in fascination. The 3 adults circled slowly, assessing this strange human who dared challenge pack law. "We are 3, the leader said. "You are 1. This is foolish. Then it should be easy for you." Lewis spread his arms. "But you're not touching that kid." "Not while I'm breathing." Orla's hand moved to her sidearm, but she knew it wouldn't matter. If this became a fight, they were both dead. Yet she found herself moving to stand beside Lewis anyway. "2 of us," she said quietly. The largest Kyrath's tail lashed. He could end this in seconds, they all knew it. But something held him back. Perhaps it was the absolute certainty in Lewis's voice. Perhaps it was the way this small human stood his ground against creatures bred for millennia to hunt and kill. Perhaps it was something the Kyrath had never encountered before. Someone willing to sacrifice everything for another's child, even one of a different species. The standoff lasted an eternity compressed into seconds. Then slowly the lead Kyrath lowered his head, not in submission but in acknowledgement. "You claim responsibility for the cub?" "I do," Lewis said immediately. "Then his shame is yours. His weakness is yours. You understand this?" "Completely." The 3 Kyrath backed away, their body language shifting from aggressive to confused. They'd never seen pack-bonding behavior directed outside a species before. It didn't fit into any framework they understood. As they left, other Kyrath emerged from the shadows. An older female approached cautiously, her eyes on the injured cub. "I am his mother," she said softly. "They could not challenge pack law." "But you did." Lewis was already kneeling beside the cub, his hands gentle as he examined the injuries. "He needs medical attention." Orla, get the kit. Over the following week, something shifted in Vareth 7. The Kirath began watching the humans differently. They saw Lewis visit the cub, whose name was Kareth, every day during his recovery. They saw how humans could be fierce and gentle in the same breath, how they extended their pack bonds across species lines without hesitation. Orla asked Lewis about it one evening, as they watched the twin moons rise over the settlement. "Weren't you terrified?" "Absolutely," he admitted. "But terror doesn't matter when a kid's in danger. That's not courage, that's just being human." She smiled. "The Kirath are starting to understand that. You know what Kareth's mother told me? She said they have a new phrase now, fierce like human pack. It's becoming a compliment." Lewis shook his head in wonder. "We're not stronger than them. Not faster. Not tougher." "No," Orla agreed, "but we're stubborn. And we care, sometimes in ways that don't make sense to anyone else." She paused. "That day in the market you roared louder than any predator." "And they listened." "Someone had to," Lewis said simply. "Someone always has to." In the distance, young Kareth was running, his leg healed, playing with other cubs who no longer saw his earlier failure as permanent shame. And watching from the shadows, the Kirath pack elders observed and learned. Humanity had taught them something new, that true strength sometimes meant protecting the weak, and that the loudest roar didn't always come from the biggest throat. Sometimes it came from the bravest heart. The end.